Your Honor, please. It is very clear from the statements of former Senator Richard Gordon. He was mentioning about former President Rodrigo Duterte and a certain Michael Yang. But there is again no evidence on record that the former president is involved in the purchase of the test kits.
Moreover, Honorable Ombudsman, in Prrd, the accused is a government official who has an ill-gotten hoard of not less than 75 million. And it is not against private individuals. Is this correct, Mr. Ombudsman?
Yes, Your Honor, that there is nothing on record about amassing of wealth by any of these government officials, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, some also faulted the Ombudsman for not filing graft charges against perceived other malefactors and the more superior government officials. Can we have your comment on this, Mr. Honorable Ombudsman?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, please. It is very clear from the statements of former Senator Richard Gordon. He was mentioning about former President Rodrigo Duterte and a certain Michael Yang. But there is again no evidence on record that the former president is involved in the purchase of the test kits. On the matter of Michael Yang, there is no concrete proof or evidence that Michael Yang is also involved in the supply of the test kits, except that the fact that Michael Yang initially funded the purchase by family of the test kits, or initially lent money to family to purchase the test kits. So these are all this evidence are insufficient to indict Michael Yang, and no evidence insofar as the former president is concerned, Your Honor.
With respect to the former president, it is said that he prevented some officials to attend the investigation. What is constitute evidence against the former president?
The action of the former president, Rodrigo Duterte, in preventing government officials from attending the hearing, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings, was more probably, I don't want to justify that, but it can be justified by the office of the president in so many reasons. In fact, it's stated that that is a presidential prerogative. But on the matter of him being involved, by relating this order of the president for them not to attend the Senate committee hearings, cannot be translated, Your Honor, into an activity that is where the president is directly involved in the purchase of the test kits, Your Honor. So the investigators could not find any reason to translate this statement of the president, this prohibition for the government officials to attend the committee hearings, into one that would be chargeable under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Well, thank you, Honorable Ombudsman, for your answers. And I hope there will be more efforts to conduct similar investigations and prosecution of identical cases. Thank you.
Incidentally, Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, I'd like to inform the Honorable Congressman Lagman that we have not yet completed the investigation on family with respect to the personal protective equipment, with this, the PPEs. We are still conducting investigation on the PPEs and the transfer of funds. So there are two more issues or cases being undergoing investigation in the Office of the Ombudsman, Your Honor. And soon it will be completed, Your Honor.
Thank you again, Honorable Ombudsman, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there are follow-up questions, you may want to give your questions. Mr. Chairman, like in previous years, I fully support the proposed budget of the Office of the Ombudsman. Consequently, I do not have budgetary questions. But I have some policy or procedural questions. So many, Mr. Chair, lauded the Honorable Ombudsman for filing graft cases against formerly officers and the government officials involved, like the office of the PSDBM. However, many yet faulted the Ombudsman for not filing plunder cases against the respondents. And I agree with the Ombudsman that plunder is not indictable in these cases under Republic Act number 7080, which defines and penalizes the crime of plunder. May we hear a more elaborate explanation from the Ombudsman why these respondents were not sued for plunder?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, the reason why what was filed was only violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, particularly Section 3E, and not plunder is because per the decision of the Supreme Court in the Macapagal Arroyo case of Macapagal Arroyo versus People, where the opponent is now Executive Secretary Bersamin, they said that the plunderer must be identified. In this case, the plunderer is not identified. Secondly, there is no evidence on record or even a testimony that Leong or Lau or any of the respondents in the family case, I'm referring to the test kits, receive commissions or kickbacks. The test kits were all delivered and received by the government. The government paid about 4 billion pesos with respect to the test kits. Now, in the case again of Erap Estrada, of President Estrada, the Supreme Court also said that the co-conspirators must likewise be identified. So who conspired with Leong? Who conspired with Lau? Again, it's not identified. Was it Farmally? Was it any of the officers of Farmally? There is no evidence on record for that. So what we decided, or the investigators recommended, which I approve, was only the filing of graft cases against these PSDBM officials or other government officials involved in the supply of test kits, Your Honor.
Whenever I am allowed to teach and preach, I would rather speak on a personal relationship with God rather than religion, because religion cannot even change a man, Mr. Ombudsman. So I'm so glad that you raised that issue up.